I'm going to go ahead and review some things for today's quiz and let you know what you're doing. Okay. So in your quiz, you're going to have a few questions to go over the kinetic molecular theory. So you just have to remember that according to that theory, we have gas particles are in constant motion, right? So they're in constant motion and they're in random motion. There's this system, whichever system they are in, has a certain pressure, and that pressure is due to the collisions of those particles, right? So, for example, if I decrease the collisions or slow it down, if I slow it down, there's going to be less collisions, therefore less pressure. Or, for example, if I give them a larger space here, they're not going to collide that much. So again, the pressure goes down. If I give them a smaller space, more collisions and more pressure. Okay, so those are some of the main components of the kinetic molecular theory. Basically states that gas particles have kinetic energy, which allows them to be constantly moving in a random motion, and those collisions correspond to a amount of pressure. Okay, then you're also going to have problems on conversions. So these are the main kind of components you're going to use for conversions here. So we know 1 atm equals 760 milligrams of mercury, which is also equal to 101.3 kilopascals. And I'm not sure if you're going to have problems on PSI, but if you do, that would be 14.7 PSI. Okay, so let me go ahead and I'll show you guys one conversion here. So let me see if I can use the pen feature. So just remember, um, so just remember when you're doing conversion. So for example, if you start for let's say 1.5 ATM, right, and you want to convert that into kilopascals, then you would take ATM, you would put it in the bottom of the fraction, and you would take the kilopascals and you would put that on top of the fraction. Okay. Uh, okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the last part. So once you kind of understand how to convert, the last thing you're also going to have to do problems with Boyle's law. So all the problems on the quiz have to do with Boyle's law. I know we covered Charles' law as well, but you're not going to use that. So the only equation that you're going to be using in this quiz is going to be P1 V1 equals P2 V2. Okay, so that's the only equation you're going to be using. You're not going to be using the volume and temperature one, which is Charles' law. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And then last of all, again, during class, you're going to go ahead, you're going to head over to your course, and you're going to scroll to the bottom, and you should see this quiz here, quiz 4.1, gas properties and Boyle's law. Make sure you take that by the end of class. Okay. If you have any questions, you can feel free to message me.